Assalamu alaikum, my dear friends and fellows. How are you? I welcome you here on my training channel. My name is Abdul Khalik. Dear friends, look, there are certain things, there are rather certain realities there in this world, certain realities of the life which are so strong, which are so permanent, so change, so much, important. We cannot afford to ignore all that. We cannot afford to ignore that at all. Why? Because those people who did not accept that, those people who weren't willing to accept it, weren't willing to embrace it, they people have suffered, and they have suffered a lot. They people are in a very great trouble today. So, my dear friends and fellows, I think it is extremely important that we should embrace all that. We should accept all those three realities of the life. So, I think for all the people, for all of us who want to lead a good life, a pleasant life, a successful life, who don't want to spoil their life. First of all, what they need to do is that they must be ready to embrace all of these three realities of the life. What are these three realities? Now let's look upon all those three one by one. First of all, it is the reality of change. The reality of change. Whatever we are today, we were different. The circumstances, the situation in our previous life, in the first stage of the life, in the second stage of the life, in the third stage of the life. So I think, as for the change, it is said, it is rightfully said that the only thing which is permanent, that is change. So I think that we must be ready for the change. We must not be unwilling to accept it. Rather, it is the biggest ever reality. So we must be ready for the change. So change is the most important thing. That is unavoidable. That is invincible. Whatever is invincible, whatever is unavoidable, why not to embrace it? Why not to accept it with the open arms? So I think why we people are reluctant to do that, because we are found staying inside our own comfort zone. As for this comfort zone is concerned, that is our own worst enemy. I think if at all we are ready for the change, we are rather waiting for the change. What does happen? Obviously, there will be certain new challenges, there will be certain new obstacles, hurdles, and there will be certain complications. But if at all we people try to overcome by understanding it first well, so we try to overcome, and if at all these difficulties are overcome, what is going to happen then? I think that we will become much more confident, much more capable, and then also there will be certain hidden opportunities we need to explore. We need to identify what opportunities are lying there, and we should try to avail those opportunities as well. So that is the reality number one, and the reality of number one is the change. And now the second reality is the reality of failure. Yes, the reality of failure. Failure is also very important. Failure is unavoidable. There are all the big people, all the great people in the world today. Read their life, read their biographies, read their autobiographies. You will come to understand that they people have suffered many of the failures in their life. So if at all we are afraid of failure, it actually means that we will be unable to do anything else at all. So failure, don't be afraid of the failure on the one hand, and then on the other hand, whatever the failure teaches us, whatever we can learn from the failure, I think that no mentor on earth, no teacher, no coach on earth can teach us whatever the failure I have suffered, the failure you people have encountered. I think whatever it teaches us, that is the finest ever, that is the greatest ever lesson, because the way we take it, because there is a lot of pain because there is pain attached with that. So this is the reason that we learn so much from the failure, because there is so much of the pain attached with it. This is the reason that we learn so much from it. So my dear friends and fellows, never be afraid of the failure at all. And if at all the failure has occurred, I think it does provide us the very, very important lesson, and we can keep learning throughout our life. So that was the second thing. And now the third is the reality of not being able to please everybody. Yes, the reality of not being able to please everybody, that is also extremely important lesson, extremely important reality. But what we need to do, should we try to please everyone else? I think we should not even try to do that. But one thing which must be ensured, and that one thing is that I stick to the principle, that I take care of the values. I don't overlook, I don't ignore the values, I don't ignore the core values of mine. I don't ignore the principles, because if at all, as long as I stick to the principles, as long as I am observing, I am taking care of, I'm taking care of the core values of mine. It means that if at all some of the people are annoyed, if at all some of the people are unhappy, if at all some of the people are angry over me, let them be angry over me. I'm not going to surrender at all. I'm not going to surrender at all. I'm going to take a stand. Why? Because my stance is based on the principle, because the principles are much, much, much more important than even the people. And then, of course, I need to take care of the values. I need to take care of the core values of mine. So these are the three realities of the life. I think we must understand, and we must accept it with the open arms, because failure to accept it, because failure to internalize it, because failure to adjust ourselves, failure to mend our life, keeping in view all that. So that will be total bad, absolutely bad. So my dear friends and fellows, if at all we want to become our own good friend, our own best friend, so whatever is needed, whatever is desperately and direly needed, is that we must embrace the change. We must embrace the change. We must we must embrace the failure. We must understand and accept this extremely important reality, that I am unable to please everybody, but I need to stick to my principles. So these are the three realities of the life. If at all somebody fail to understand it, somebody fail to accept it, I think they are going to become their own enemies. They don't need even the enemies. I think they are going to suffer. They are going to bear the big pain out of all that. Thank you very much.